really take your time playing through that content.
Understand what's happening in the story of this giant Elder Scrolls lore-based world that I want to know about. I don't get that when I'm with other people. No one gives a shit. They're all
running through.
We got to run through it.
Yeah.
You know, like just why is he waiting there? Oh, he's waiting. Why is he in his craft bag? Why the fuck? You know
what's
He's
funny?
in his craft bag again.
You know what's funny? As much as I love lore, this literally happened today, Neo. When me, you, and Channing were playing Destiny.
Yeah.
And right before we hopped into the Whisper quest, you guys were doing the adventure. And you're like, wait, there's a scanny thing here. And I'm like, it just it talks about the fucking taking portals. Let's go. We gotta get through here.
Yeah, whatever. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Emergent Gamer Podcast, episode 176. This is your host, Neo Aoshi, joined by some cool dudes. Who have I got all the way at the end?
Felix Hergood.
And
Trip Zero.
our special guest today,
Grim.
Welcome, Grim.
Thanks for
How
having
you
me, guys.
doing?
That's a really foreboding name.
This means nothing, and the end of the podcast will be just fine.
It's just my gamer
No
tag.
apocalypse.
I'm a cuddly guy.
Very nice.
He's a cuddly guy.
Well, how's everyone doing this week?
We're good.
Good stuff, yeah.
Cool, guys.
I'm great. I'm doing
It
fantastic.
feels like it's been a long time since I've seen you guys.
I wasn't on last week. I had to work last week, so I was not here at the show. It was just you, Locke,
so
and
maybe
Neo.
it's just proximity. You're next to me,
Right.
And I feel
Yeah,
like,
we're trading weekends with Locke now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely saw Neo last week. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And who? Wait, do we have a guest?
No, it was just you, me, and Locke.
Oh, it was
think.
me, you, and Locke.
Not
Yeah, that's
live.
what it
Our show last week was not live.
was. It's like Locke is a guest or something. Like, thank you for coming back, guest Locke.
I mean, he's definitely not, but it's kind of the life he possibly has to lead. At
No,
this
he's
point,
a founder. He's here.
Oh, for sure.
He's locked in.
But he's got to found a child into this world.
Yeah,
so
he
it's-
founded a child as well.
So he's got to,
That's
of
important.
course, do that as the priority, which is totally understandable.
Bruce, you can empathize with that, right?
I thought you said we were going to call him Grim.
1,000,000%.
Oh, it's
You a
Graham.
father, Bruce?
I
Grim.
am, yes. I have an almost 2-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Oh, congratulations.
Congrats.
And 100%.
Congrats
I
on
can-
them not dying and making it almost a 2.
I think if I make it to the 2 years, just like any relationship, it's like you hit that 2-year mark and you're like, you know what, I'm good. Like they can walk
I
down
think
the
we're
stairs
going to
and-
stay together.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
correct.
keep this
I
child.
don't have to do a hard reset on this child.
No,
right?
exactly.
Thank God. So no, she's great. She keeps me busy. She was fun tonight. She had a lot of fun going up and down the stairs,
Nice.
which all babies do once they figure out that they can do that without killing themselves.
Don't you wish you could just have fun doing shit like that? I mean, we have video games, obviously, to have fun, but like, what if you could just like go up and down the steps
And it's
50
like
times?
a great time.
And one, you're not working out. One, you're just doing it. You're like, this is fucking great. I'm like changing the height at which I exist very easily.
This is low-hanging fruit for the city of Philadelphia, but I just want to let you know, every time I climb the Rocky Stairs, it's like a new thing.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Now that's a thing. You're
'cause-
somewhere specific. You have a great view. There's history involved.
Because you can also like put up your hands, right? Then you be like Rocky and keep your hands down.
Sure.
Then you're just like your own thing, right?
Sure.
You can pretend you're punching your way up there, right?
No, I put my hands up every time.
There you go.
Every single time.
Every time.
Oh god.
There's actually a big conversation around because the statue is outside the art museum, but it's not on the steps. It's near the steps.
Yeah, you know about that? You know about that history?
I do know a little
what?
bit about it. Yeah.
You know about how like they snubbed it back in the 70s when they wanted to put the statue at the top of the stairs back in the 70s, and they said, nah. Philadelphia Museum of Art was like, you're not putting this anywhere near our art museum. This is not a work of art.
Every time I drive by, because it's next to the stairs now.
Right.
So every time I drive by, there's like a line of tourists just
Right.
like standing waiting.
But they were like, you know where you're putting that? You're putting that down at the vet. Yeah, and that's where they put it. They put it all the way the fuck down in lower
So
Philadelphia.
that's a new statue
at
next
the
to
vet.
it?
No,
It's
the
the same one.
statue of Rocky
okay.
originally resided in front of the sports stadiums.
Oh.
Way the fuck nowhere near the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And then the goddamn Philadelphia Museum of Art started to see that, Rocky is something a little bit with more integrity, or I don't know. But then they finally were convinced that they needed to put it back by the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And when they brought it back, they put it in a fucking weird garden to the left of the stairs. They still didn't put him at the fucking top. It's bullshit, dude.
I mean, it's only a matter of time until a poster of the Expendables shows up somewhere near the art museum.
Well, it's only a matter of time before all the people who were running the Museum of Art when Rocky was first coming out in the theaters die, and then like some younger person says, that really should go to the top of that stairs.
It might not be the Rocky thing. It might be the museum saying, "Look, this is great and all, but like, this is the Museum of Philadelphia, the Art Museum of Philadelphia, and our steps need to exist as our steps." It's great that happened here, but it's going to be off to the side because
we have
our
the
vista
argument is
and our building exists how it should exist.
I think the strongest argument you can make is that it's not art; it's pop culture, right?
It's not art,
right? But then you go into their 20th century art like exhibit and see all the Warhol and all of this tribute to like pop art, and one could argue that it's pop art, like that it could go in the museum, like it could exist there.
Yeah,
it could.
Yeah.
I think it can exist in the sphere of like art, right?
I don't
in
want to have
terms
an
of
art
like
discussion.
And I think what's up?
I don't necessarily want to have an art discussion. But.
No, but I
Too
think
bad.
like for example, also like Rocky is emblematic of Philadelphia in and of itself, right? I mean, it's become an inseparable piece of history of like 20th century Philadelphia history or second half, right? And so I think that the statue is just this representation of this Philadelphia spirit, right? The underdog, the small guy. And so the statue is in a way just the representation of that. It's a bronze statue. It's a beautiful statue.
Well, the thought that popped in my head,
but I think it's more than just a bronze statue. That's why they included it.
the thought that popped in my head like 5 minutes ago was only a matter of time before we're all dead and everyone's all dead and people in the future think that he was a real person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm laughing about that already right now.
Yeah.
Every time I see that
uncovering the
statue.
statue and go, "Oh, this person of power in Philadelphia."
He was in a prominent boxer.
King Rocky
Yeah.
of
My
Philadelphia.
uncle knew him.
Yeah.
My uncle fucking
Right.
knew him.
He was a gentle soul. He hit people with padded
So,
gloves.
speaking of fake people and fake things,
Yes. Good transition.
good, thank you. Video games, Felix. What's new with them in your life?
Video games in my life. I like the transition.
That was good. I liked it a lot.
So my ongoing saga of I've been paying for an MMORPG for the first time in my entire 40 years of living. Right,
Damn.
is now occurring.
How's that going?
And you chose Elder Scrolls Online.
I chose Elder Scrolls Online, and I'm
Yeah.
proud of my purchase, and it just keeps
That's
getting better
all
and
that
goddamn
matters, dude.
better.
That's all that matters.
So I earn this monthly currency. So my new stipend is going to be coming
They
up.
pay
soon.
you in fake currency for paying them with real currency.
Yeah.
Is what they do. They give you a
Exactly.
paycheck of meaningless money
Yeah.
to use in there.
So I'm going to get this
in their world.
stipend a couple of times, and when I get this stipend, I just found this new feature in the game. I'm going to pay to have. Now I could pay now, but it would be $30, and I don't want to do that. So I'll just wait until the stipend builds up, and when I have 5,000 crowns, this currency in the fucking world, I can buy a banker to be with me.
To
in the
travel
world.
with you.
He'll manage your stipends.
A traveling banker. I could also buy a traveling merchant, but that's a total of 10,000 crowns.
You got to start small.
So 10,000 crowns roughly translates to $60. The entire game over again.
So the banker, does he manage your finances?
No, the banker is just your bank. You know how in
I thought he's like an accountant, like a personal
Yeah,
accountant.
yeah, yeah.
Like, let me
He's like,
invest this money for you.
you know, Felix, you spent like 40 crowns this week doing bullshit.
like
so
like a
we
little
should probably
mini,
take it
a
back.
little mini window with like Quicken shows up. And
Yeah.
I'm like doing actual like fucking math.
the PC from the Mac
is
and
a
PC
really-
commercials comes
really
in.
intense
He's like,
game.
listen, Felix.
The detail they put into this fucking thing. No,
That's the taxes for you.
when you play MMORPGs, you have your player inventory and then you have your bank. And your bank is like usually back at a town. And in the case of the bank in this game, the bank can be received. It's the same items for all the characters you create, and I can create up to 8 characters. So it would be convenient for me to have the bank with me. It would also be convenient to have a merchant with me, because if I have a merchant with me, I can sell all the crap you get without having to go back to a town to do it.
That's a huge benefit,
Yeah.
especially in an MMO.
So I'm going for the
Time
merchant.
saver,
I'm
yeah.
going for the merchant first, and then I'll get the banker later. But like, it's cool. I just didn't know it existed. You could actually get it in the store. So I'm just gonna wait until my stipend like builds up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll get that.
That means less downtime. You can be out in the field
Right.
more, doing more field
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
all of it just adds up to me having a quicker workflow when I play the game.
Do you have to pay extra to have that, or do you accumulate these things over time?
I'm paying $15 a month,
Right.
And with that comes a lot of benefits.
Okay.
I did do an
This
extensive
is that
thing.
currency they're paying you because you pay them.
I understand now. Okay,
To-
gotcha.
to get
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
do an extensive talk already on one of our previous episodes about how amazing the craft bag is. So I'm not going to go into that again. But you get a
Yes.
craft
Good crap
bag.
bag.
Yes.
You
Fucking
get a
love
craft bag.
conversation.
Listen to like
That craft
170, 175 or 174, where I talk craft bag like a motherfucker. But you get a craft bag, and then you get this $1,500 stipend, and what I was saying is this just unlocks newer parts of the game that I never imagined existed before. Okay, and it's just making my experience so much better. And in addition to that, I finally did my first day where I found that there's a dungeon finder tool. I didn't know that existed. A dungeon finder tool. So thanks to Cable Games who suggested it when we were getting ready to play dungeons. You can go to a dungeon finder tool, and I think it unlocks at level 10. But you get to your dungeon finder tool, and it just finds all the dungeons in the world. So you don't have to, like, if you and your party of people want to just grind dungeons, you don't have to go walking anywhere. It just loads you into a dungeon. It's amazing.
Oh,
And then you can pick up to 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that to just do a playlist, like in Destiny. So
nice.
I did that. So the other day we grinded out like 4 dungeons, and I got a shit ton of gear. There's a ton of weapons that are in my bank right now that I just have to like grind out, and break down, get materials, sell, whatever, and it's super exciting.
I don't think I ever asked what class are you playing, or like what's your
So my
your character?
my build for multiplayer. So I have 2 characters. I also have a third character on the European server for when I play with European friends. But
Mr. Worldwide over here.
my primary the way I started, and this is sheerly by mistake. I just randomly picked this. I'm playing a tank build.
Cool.
So I'm basically the character that stands next to the monster and gets like takes all the damage and gets eviscerated.
You have to like aggro it too.
You have aggro moves.
I try my best. I got a couple really cool moves that I've unlocked, and that's what I do the whole time.
So
and I really enjoy
I
it.
like how you said, "I try my best."
I do.
It's the only thing you
Like,
can do,
yeah.
I've been doing, actually, when we did that day where we just rolled through, like I was steamrolling enemies. I got this really cool uppercut move. She takes her battle axe and like literally uppercuts shit to the ceiling. Like it's so cool.
All right.
So
yeah, go ahead.
when you're in groups, like other MMOs have team composition. That's usually a thing in MMOs. You want your healer, your tank, and your damage dealers. Is that like the same thing in Elder Scrolls when
Yeah.
you're grouping in dungeons?
Yeah. So Tuna, who you guys know
Yep.
from coming in,
He's in the chats and stuff.
Tuna and Artemis are primarily healers. So we have 2 healers, and then we have, I don't know what Cable was doing specifically. I don't know what his class was, but it wasn't a healer, and he wasn't whatever the third one. Or
He was a
DPS.
damage dealer.
He probably was a damage dealer.
DPS, yeah.
And then I was the tank, and then but we were getting through it. We were burning through them, and it was a lot of fun. We didn't do like, they weren't high level dungeons. They weren't the level 2 version of the dungeons, which in Elder Scrolls parlance that's like more shit and you just get overwhelmed.
Right.
Like the prestige in Destiny.
Sure.
So they weren't prestige dungeons, but they were just, it was my first experience just barreling through dungeons, and I'd never done it in MMO style, and it was fucking great.
Nice,
I had a
dude.
good
It's
time.
moments
That's
like that
cool.
that make MMOs pretty fun.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how good it was, how fluid it went, and I didn't even know the dungeon finder existed.
I'm glad you're having fun with it. You know that I didn't have fun playing the game, but I'm glad that you're having fun playing the game.
It's not a fun game without the goddamn membership. I'm not even kidding. It's a piece of shit game.
No, you're probably absolutely
If
right.
you're not
They've
going in
designed it
all in, I'm telling
probably.
you right now, if you're watching us right now and you're considering Elder Scrolls, but you're not considering the $15 a month membership, you're wasting your fucking money. Don't buy the game.
Wow.
Unless you're going to pay $15 a month.
You heard it here first, boys.
Pay them more money.
I didn't buy the
says
game.
Felix Hergood.
I got a gift. I know. I know I'm saying that. It sucks. But
I don't care.
No, it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to save you money if you know you won't pay $15 a month. Mrs. Felix
True.
bought me the game. So I didn't pay $60 for the game.
Look, last year I was playing Final Fantasy 14,
You were.
and I had to buy the expansion, and I paid them monthly so I
You
could
know what?
play.
I still pay monthly. I've never stopped
What?
paying monthly for that game.
You paid for it.
But you're not
Sorry,
playing it.
I pay yearly. I pay, and it's like the one lump sum year thing.
And you're making fun of me?
I'm
like the Office
grandfathered in at a lower price for this, Felix. I played Final
Can't
Fantasy
let go of it.
14
You'll lose that
before they
grandfather.
shut it down and blew the world up and started over
Yeah,
again.
you played during 1.0.
I can't let go.
It's a great game. It's a
I
great
log in like
I'll go back
once
eventually.
a year, and I get like 70 million new costumes. I have the full Advent Children's set because just like 'cause I was there
Yeah.
during that time. I got so many like
you get rewarded
wacky
in
things.
Final
I think you
Fantasy
should-
14 for being an active member longer.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So they give you
Right.
like the you
Active
got that.
member meaning paying member.
Paying member.
I'm
Yeah,
the
yeah.
least active member of that entire community.
You
But
should like sell your account. I think you would like make a lot of money selling your account.
I probably could, but that's very illegal.
Is it?
Probably.
I used to people used to
It's
sell World
always
of
it's
Warcraft.
always against
Yeah.
TOS.
If
Always.
they find out like account selling or account sharing even these days, like you can't have other people play on your account,
Right.
Things like that. You can't have people like pay
Back
them
in
to
the day,
grind your stuff.
you could
Right.
pay a service and then someone
Oh,
would
sure.
come on your account and power level for
Oh,
you.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. Highly illegal.
It's just like paying for like Twitter followers, right? It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
concept.
Well, damn. Very cool, Felix.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. What's up, Trip?
You know what's up, man. Destiny
what's up.
Solstice of Heroes.
I know we've been getting into that.
Getting into it all the way.
I can't believe you're doing 2 characters with that gear grind.
I'm doing 3. I need that chip. And I
Oh
didn't-
my God.
I only had one character before the event started, created at all.
Would you like to fill people in on what this grind entails?
Bruce,
Just
we're
briefly?
superficial people. We really are.
No, and I
Ships, craft bags. We're,
I fully
we're
understand
spineless.
the gaming culture, and I am right there with you. I played Destiny 1, not 2, and there were moments when I just wanted stuff because you want it.
Exactly.
I get it.
So I know we've talked about Destiny since the inception of the show, but if you somehow haven't caught what's been going on with the Solstice of Heroes event, let me lay it out for you. It is a 4-week-long event celebrating everything in Destiny 2, free to all players of Destiny 2. You only ever have to buy the game, not even the expansions. You can just have vanilla.
The
All you have to
base.
do is get through the main campaign, and you can participate in it. It's 4 weeks long. They've put new statues around the tower, the main social space, and each tower you can interact with to play in a remixed version of some of the original story missions.
Which are great.
They're great. They're harder. They've got so much more enemies. Sometimes there's new mechanics or new bosses that are in there. You
Well,
get a
yeah, describe what your reward
yeah.
is. Yeah, yeah.
You get a set of armor for free by starting this, and it's green tier armor, which is uncommon in
low-
the game.
low quality,
low
yeah.
quality gear. That looks like the tattered gear that you had when the game started and everything went to shit. And each piece of gear has some objectives on it. When you wear the full set, you'll make elemental orbs that will give you more power, but you also have to like collect a certain number of them to make the gear the next level of rarity and the next level of rarity. And eventually, after 3 upgrades, you'll have a fully masterworked set of gear for this.
That's level 400. Which
Level
is like the
400,
cap.
which is the only way to get level 400 gear in Destiny 2 until the expansion comes out in September.
Does this mechanic work similarly to the Musk of the Ship?
Yeah, it's literally you upgrade the same piece of gear. Yeah, so you have complete an objective, and then you can
Right.
upgrade your thing.
Yeah, that-
you don't have to put something in the gear like you did
You
for
just
Husk
hand
of
it
the
in.
Pit, but you just turn it in.
Saw
and
what I did there, right?
I know. I
And
know.
so
That's a throwback. That's
Trip,
a throwback
you're doing
to
it for
Dark Below.
3 characters.
I'm doing it for 3 characters.
I
Yeah.
can't believe that.
You know what? It's not as bad as I originally thought it was going to be. I thought you had to masterwork all 3 sets to get the ship. You don't. You only have to get legendary.
Okay.
So that's upgrading green to blue and then upgrading blue to purple, which is legendary. And we already know that blue is not terribly difficult. Maybe the hardest thing is getting people, if you don't have friends, to do Nightfall. And everything else is pretty doable. The hardest grind, honestly, is getting super kills
in Crucible.
in Crucible on hunters specifically because they don't have a big, huge like
Yeah, the second set
damage
just-
dealing super ability.
it requires you to just juggle your classes around so you get certain class kill things. Yeah. But it's depending on how fast I finish this set, my hunter set, I'll decide if I want to take it to my Titan.
So people are going to mainline this activity.
Mainline it.
100%.
Right to the jug.
But you don't have to. 4 weeks is a long time if you just want a nice set of gear,
Mm-hmm.
and the gear looks awesome. I can't confirm this, but I heard a rumor that you can change the appearance of it. It'll have ornaments built in, so you can have a fully masterworked set, but you can make it look like the trash version. You can make it look
really?
like the middle tier.
I
think you
like
can.
the little glowy things that they give you for
The glowy things are their cosmetic thing that drop from the engrams. You can buy them, of course. It's the Eververse store. It's their microtransaction economy. But yeah, they have glowing highlights to the armor, to this specific solstice gear that come from these engrams. You get them when you level up too, and they make your gear glow with an arc, solar, or void color that glows brighter when your subclass matches that burn that you've got turned on.
I did not realize that. That's
Oh,
very
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Do you remember Sage of Halo?
Of course I do. 100%.
So, Sage of Halo, this, if any time in the history of Destiny, there was a time when Sage of Halo should have joined Destiny and played Destiny. I don't know if he's playing.
Yeah.
But it's now. Because remember how much of a whore he was for shaders?
Oh yeah, dude.
It was his favorite thing in the world. And
Yeah.
I just want to remark and just say that Destiny, if you've never played the game, is one of the most beautiful games when it comes to like adding
Honestly, a lot, dude.
adornments to your shit.
Yeah.
It's-
The game has always been visually incredible.
Yeah.
So I pulled an article this week
Mm-hmm.
on something. I sent it to everybody, or I put it in our Discord. Destiny 2 players have collectively spent 25 years deleting shaders.
I saw they put a bunch of statistics out to celebrate
because of
the
how
end of the year.
shitty their delete
shaders.
shader.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's impossible to delete a stack of shaders.
You have
Do
to-
it
you have to-
individually.
Well, this
Yeah.
problem comes from the fact that shaders can be applied to any specific item in the game, so they give them to you in stacks. If you want to shade your gun, it uses one shader. If you want to shade your boots, it uses one shader.
It's awful that you can't
In,
delete them.
in Destiny 1, you just turn a shader on and your entire being turn into that color.
Correct.
But
Perfect.
You can mix and match shaders now. You can put them
thought
on
you could
specific
sell 'em.
guns. You can break them down
For money.
and
Yeah, you
could
depending
break 'em
on where
down,
you
yeah.
got them, they'll either turn into money or they'll turn into bright dust, which is the inventory for the selling, the purchasing stuff.
I remember in Destiny 1, they also, when you broke down different things, they broke it up in different stuff, and I guess they continued that in.
Yeah, I want to
too.
find this whole entire stat
There it is.
infographic. Yeah. So Bungie put out statistics about year 1 of Destiny 2, including that statistic about shaders, because you have to kill them one by one. So it's a lot of time sitting there
refuse.
holding square, or holding F on the keyboard, whatever it is. And you got to do it again and again and again. You can't even hold the button down.
Oh my god.
Like Locke said last night, which would be great. You can't even hold your key down to just auto let it delete and delete and delete. You got to delete, let go.
Sit there.
Delete, let go.
That's a pain
So
in
the number, did you read it out, Neo? I forget if you read this specific number for shader deletion.
It's was that 807 million
Yeah.
roughly?
807,635,124 shaders have been deleted. So someone did the math and figured out that was X
Yeah, the
amount of
math
hours.
was like, what is it down here?
How
Yeah.
many hours? Oh, they said days.
Oh, that a second per shader delete, right? So if you actually just
yes.
optimize in just 1 second, 1 second, 1
Yes.
second,
Did you say it was 25 years?
25.59 years.
Yep.
That's incredible.
So they have stats on the faction rallies. No surprise here, Dead Orbit had the most people pledged and the most engrams opened at 20.5 million engrams opened.
Why do you say no surprise?
Dead Orbit's always been the favorite ever since Destiny 1. I think people just like the moodiness of it and like the black and white shaders.
Yeah, we
You think
talked.
they have
we-
the best kind of
It
weapons?
was like the
or is
hot,
it just,
just like the hot topic,
Okay.
real broody, like clan to
I
join.
said to Trip 2 or 3 shows ago. I said, "Do you think it was because Dead is in the name,
Probably.
or because Black and White is in the name, or it could be both?
It was a combo of both. Yeah,
It's a combo of both.
Yeah.
It's the Dead shader.
Dead Orbit, bro.
It's super mysterious.
I think it also just sounds cool, right?
It sounds
So,
really
like,
cool.
Dead Orbit.
Dead Orbit.
The normal raid has been cleared 6.4 million times. The prestige raid has been cleared 757,000 times.
Dude, Dead Orbit is a late 1970s glam rock fucking band. If
is.
I've ever heard it.
It is.
All right.
Speaking of all the ads on Leviathan in the raids, 1.6 billion ads have been killed across all the raid runs.
It's a lot of ads.
a lot of
I'm
ads.
in there for
You are.
what? This is Destiny 2. Not
All,
one.
this is all Destiny 2, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You never made it to Leviathan.
I'm in
I
there
don't
for
think.
2 games.
263 million public events finished, 77 million escalation protocol waves. Here's a cool stat at the very end. So there are specific guns that you can get during Season 3.
Yeah.
One is the timed event Whisper of the Worm, which will end Mondays at 1 p.m., which is reset time Eastern.
I got a quick question for you
Yeah.
about that. So I think we're going to miss our opportunity this weekend to get that next piece of the gear.
Unless we can do it tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Is it just going to be, is this just going to
Yeah,
be a
they've
thing?
said it's a weekly thing. It's a weekend event. So
Cool.
Friday to Monday, the Whisper of the Worm
So,
will always be available.
we don't need to worry
but
about that.
during the
Okay.
week, we can hop in.
Wait, really?
Oh, wait, I forget if that heroic event disappears off our map when it's not active.
I'm pretty sure it was
We'll
gone.
we'll have to find out
Yeah, I'm
about that. But
pretty
every
sure
week
it's
there's a
gone.
different burn. So to get our ship, we have to.
Find
do
it.
that.
We got to match it with the right one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
Cool.
we're going down a little rabbit hole. But let me read these
We
last two
leaving you,
numbers.
No, I'm following along, man.
So as of this posting, only 194,000 players had the Whisper of the Worm.
Wow.
But an
Wow.
even crazier number, only 8,750 players have the Redrix Claymore.
Do you have
I do not have it. This is the PvP specific gun that you have to get by getting at least rank 3 of competitive Crucible ranks. and that's a rank where you lose points and you lose progress if your team loses. Wow. So imagine how much of a grind has to go in
Wow.
How
to
many
getting
players
that
are there
gun.
in total?
A total. I don't know what the total player base
I think that's what we
number
need
is.
to know.
Yeah, it would be, especially with these numbers here.
That sounds
Yeah.
like shit that came out after I played the game.
But basically, it's a cool free event in Destiny 2 if you own Destiny 2 in any version, any capacity, any combination of DLCs or main game. You can play this, participate, and get 400 level gear before the expansion comes out in September.
It's happening.
And
It's
it's been
gonna
fun. It feels very much like this is the most MMO like the game has felt because you have specific like things to grind for. You've got achievements, you've got gear that you can swap in and out with different abilities.
It's making me do adventures, and that's something that I never would have done.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
I had no interest in doing it. But
Same
they're-
for the
they're kind of fun.
the meditations, which bring you back to the main story missions. No one ever touched those. I think I had 3 reward tokens out of the entire game.
Adventures were like my favorite part of Destiny 2 when
Adventures
it first came out.
really fleshed out the story from a lore perspective.
Yeah.
Which are always really cool.
I mean, they repurpose the areas in a cool way.
Yeah.
You know, people complain about that, but repurposing.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
do a good job.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with the game.
Did you have any thoughts on No Man's Sky?
I love No Man's Sky as well.
There you go. Sign it, book
shit.
it, deliver it.
No Man's Sky was great. I was playing that. I think I don't know last Tuesday or Thursday or something. Sadly, my stream kept cutting out. You didn't. I realized my
You were.
stream shut off the moment I got off the planet for the first time, and I was so sad, dude, because my planet had rings on it. It was gorgeous. I found the space station. It was just the most like beautiful outside of the
yeah.
planet that I had ever seen, especially after the graphical overhaul.
Fucking space nerd.
I
But
fucking love space.
how 100% I love space.
I love
Jesus.
space. so
Everyone
much.
watch Apollo 13 if you haven't ever watched the movie. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And
How
gravity.
about
Hashtag Tom Hanks.
How about Armageddon?
No,
No.
not real. Apollo 13 fucking happened.
So did
gravity?
gravity.
Gravity happens.
See, he doesn't like any space. He likes real space
Yeah.
or space with a shit ton of lore,
I like-
Destiny.
Yeah, real,
But-
not weird, hokey future space. Like legitimate, far enough out to make sense space, or like legitimate.
Did you like
Space.
what was that Matthew McConaughey movie?
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar?
Yeah.
Interstellar was great.
Yeah, I
it was
love
also done with the partnership of NASA. So was The Martian, and The Martian was incredible
That
as
was
well.
great.
In both of those, you have
The
to.
Martian
they
is
had to
like
save Matt Damon.
Martian's like a future. Yeah, exactly. Martian's like a future fake story. Like a lot of it is very grounded. It makes a lot of sense as to what the first person on Mars would have to handle and deal with.
Well, it was also. I mean, it was based on a book.
And the guy who
Martian,
wrote it
which-
was very thorough
which
in his
pretty
research.
much was like. I mean,
too.
it's a lot like the bad comparison genre-wise, but 300 was pretty much page for page a copy of the book almost into movie form.
Yeah.
But another great space movie is Sunshine.
I like that
Oh,
movie.
I've never seen Sunshine.
Still want to see
That
that.
is a. I have it on Blu-ray, so I can give it to you guys.
Sure,
It
sure.
is
It's
a fantastic movie. I mean, it's kind of like it starts out as like the sun's dying, humans shoot this giant spaceship into space with a nuclear bomb the size of New York to reignite the sun.
Oh shit.
So the theory is a little wonky, of course,
yeah.
but so they go out, and it's the second mission that you see, and the first mission you of course figure out what happened to them.
Yeah.
And so it turns into really kind of like I equate it to like From Dusk Till Dawn,
Okay.
where it's like the first hour you're like, oh, this is great. It's like living in space, and it's all this cool stuff, and then it just like
Something
shit
happens.
happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Of course.
But it's still, and I really appreciate the end. The last half hour
Mm-hmm.
is just scientifically, it's actually really well done around like what would happen when you're that close to the sun with the gravity and how like you would move in space and things like that. So really, really excellently
Their
done. if
ship
you're
was
into that
cool.
kind of
Their
stuff.
ship had like sun sails on it
Correct.
that blocked the sun,
nice.
but it also
Yeah.
was like
Sun
solar.
mirrors.
Yeah, mirrors.
Mirrors,
yeah.
yeah.
and it was like it was.
Did it like
pretty cool.
power their ship in some way too?
Yes, it
Yeah.
provided electricity. It was giant sun mirrors, and they always had to like adjust. So as they traveled, right, they used
Would
like
it
they
follow the sun?
correct.
as
They shot
yeah.
off Mercury, so they had to like. They slingshot off Venus or something, so they had to like adjust the mirrors at one point.
Okay.
God,
and then
space
stuff
is
happened,
awesome.
so, yeah, it's
Neo
great.
is that on Netflix?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It-
Okay, cool.
I think it is. Yeah, 2 hours that you will not regret spending watching the movie. 100%.
I love space movies. I love space games.
I mean, that's what I've been doing. That's what
Yeah,
I've been
I
playing.
mean,
Space movies make me
No
cry.
Man's. I found some awesome Spotify playlists.
Yeah, dude.
Like
fucked me up.
I have a Spotify playlist like synthwave from space.
Okay.
And I just like on my stream last week, I put that on, and I was just like cruising.
How
man.
beautiful is the music in No Man's Sky?
It's good. I have that soundtrack. I got that
just,
soundtrack
like,
as well.
Chill and comforting. And if you like a grindy, crafty, beautiful looking game, No Man's Sky is it.
You can get lost in it.
It's
I'm
it
gonna
right now.
fucking love it.
You
All
get
right.
very lost.
Maybe.
I think you will. No. You will because you like base building, you like collecting,
Yeah.
you like organizing,
Yeah.
all of that. Yo, you're look. You don't get a craft bag. You'll have to craft slots.
No craft bag.
But you'll get there. You'll eventually be able to collect all your shit and grow your character and your base.
Yes.
We got to make an emergent gamer base.
Hours of
should.
grinding.
Yeah.
You can have multiple bases in the game.
Yeah.
I claimed one planet with a few friends, and it's pretty cool.
Okay.
And then I
I'll have to
claimed.
come visit.
I found this crazy ass moon. Did you see that tweet I sent out? This picture from No Man's Sky.
Oh, was that from your moon that you found?
Yeah, I found this one. The system was so weird. It had no space. First one with no space station in it. Like
I
no,
thought there always was one
no
somewhere.
trading post there.
Nothing.
So, but there was two moons, specifically moons,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
had these weird like hexagonal floaty thingies. I don't know how to
Okay.
describe it. It was like weird as.
Oh,
fuck.
I've seen those back before the game got remastered. I think it's part of the storyline that exists that you
Oh,
can
really?
participate in or not. Totally up to you.
Right, you can
I've
do whatever you want in that
I've touched
game.
none of it so far.
Um,
Do you know No
you're
Man's
really
Sky?
weird.
So I know of No Man's Sky. What I heard about it was I was really excited when I first saw the trailer for it, and I was pretty much ready to pre-order it. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'll hold off.
You made a great call there.
Yeah.
I think I made a great call.
You really did.
But then I heard about the remaster or kind of the update. I guess it was just an update, right? The game developer claimed it was just an update.
I mean,
but it really truly
was
reinvented.
It was an update to
right?
the game
Yeah.
technically, but it was essentially a remaster and a re-envisioning, and they added a lot of features that should have been there.
Well, and also they added multiplayer. They added what you guys just talked about, right? So hey, I'm going to visit your planet because it's all.
They changed all the algorithms
So,
for
yeah.
generations, so things
feel
are
like
more
it's
available. They look better.
Yeah,
It's a
more
good time
hills
to
and
check it
mountains.
out because I think you can actually get it at. It's an older game now too. So.
Yeah, it's I think 30. It's on sale for 30 on
bad
multiple
at all.
platforms.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make Planet Caligula when I get there.
That sounds like something you would
I'm
do.
gonna make can I make a sex planet?
You can do whatever you want, man. It's the universe.
Population 1. I mean, that's usually how that works.
It literally is just gonna be like dick sculptures.
You're gonna
like,
land on this
all over the
planet.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna be like, this is sex planet.
You could
penises.
You could
and
planet hop
balls.
until you find the most phallic monster,
Yeah.
and then just
And
set
just
up
kill
shop
it.
there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I actually add something? So while
You
we're on
can-
the Roman Emperor's
totally.
fun historical fact, there was actually no Roman Emperor. I forget the name of him. They had a party and they had they had like nubile slave boys dancing in front of him, and he literally put, I kid you not, 5 tons of rose petals above them, and so he was going to release them while they were all dancing in front of him as like it was raining rose petals, but there were 5 tons of them. So he releases them and they literally crush and kill the dancers.
What?
So speaking
Death
of like
by rose
Roman,
petal.
like Roman excess and like debauchery,
Jesus
people are like, oh, the
Christ.
Caligula, right? You had
Yeah.
a senator be a horse and shit like that. But like, dude, there's a Roman emperor who like killed people by rose petals, and then just like, and then as they were like flailing and choking on them, he was like, haha, good show, man. It's like, yes.
I am
I mean, there's
entertained.
just some.
Wow. I
When you
learned
think
something
you've
new.
heard it all about Roman emperors, yeah, then that shit comes out. So
Consider myself educated.
it's
would
also
this be a good-
like a non sequitur.
Real
I'm sorry
quick
for that.
Would
No,
this be a
don't apologize.
Would this be a good moment?
You're right
to-
at fucking
to
home.
talk
Felix
about-
are good.
No. I was going to say, would this be a good time for him to explain the meaning of my chair's name?
There's no. The answer is there's not a good moment,
Yeah.
but it's probably gonna happen.
I mean,
anyway.
we're kind of on like
So let's
Planet Caligula, right? I
fucking
guess
do it.
there's something.
Yeah.
So I bought a Fickmax chair, and then he gave me some history on the German language.
Well, it's not even history. It's ficken in German means to fuck. And so really every time Felix sits down in that chair, he is fucking to the max.
maximum
fuck
fuck.
max.
I'm in the Fickmax chair.
maximum fuck. I like
Proud
it.
of that.
Fuck.
So
Well,
Thick
that's
mucks.
That's
Sorry to cut you off,
the Germans would say.
Neo.
no. It's. I mean, it's fine. I'm done.
I went
I think
in a
I'm
weird.
done.
I went in a weird direction.
We'll probably
What
talk about
else
No
is
Man's
new?
Sky more in the future.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Because I got to dive in more. I've only ever got off that planet,
It's
and then
just a great
Destiny
game.
started,
to just
and
sit and chill, you know?
oh,
I love
100%.
it.
So I guess a question would be: is this a good time to get into? I mean, we talked about Destiny 2 already a little bit, and you kind of shared with me that about a month ago was a really great time to start Destiny 2. Do you feel like this is a good time as somebody who knows about the game but has never played it to get into it, or might it be a little? Are there some
well,
kinks to be ironed out?
I wanna
honestly,
say yes.
Well, here's what I was gonna say. Excuse me. Sorry. They just announced that they're gonna have a bundle that you can actually pre-purchase and play the Destiny 2 content now.
okay.
That gives you vanilla, gives you the 2 DLCs, and it gives you Forsaken. That's
And-
$60
Perfect.
on whatever platform that you're on. So if you plan on playing in the fall, which is probably the point we would say to jump in if you're new, but have a little bit of familiarity, want to poke around, do some fun things, you get this fun event and this quest. There's honestly no harm in jumping in now.
Yeah.
You're paying for the same content.
Nice.
So
Were you talking about Destiny or No Man's Sky?
The question could apply to either, but I guess I was more
Okay,
looking
cool.
for No Man's Sky. But yeah.
Oh.
Do you feel like No Man's Sky would be similar in that aspect right now?
No Man's
Jump
Sky
in,
is
or-
a hard buy right now.
Okay.
It is
Hard
never
buy.
Hard buy right
It's
now.
never been in a better spot, and
Kramer says hard buy, right?
it can offer hours of entertainment.
Sweet. All right.
Though sadly, Snacks the cat hates it.
I know. He
Yeah, he
texted
really
me.
does.
He texted me. He listened to last week's show, and he was like, "You got to the part where you're like, Snacks hates it," and then he heard me say, "Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all."
And it's funny the things that he mentioned turned him off about it. I was like,
I like those things.
yes, that sounds great. That
like
sounds
those
great.
things.
That sounds incredible.
But like I said, I did say that like there are games that are very open that I really enjoy that he definitely does not like
Well,
playing.
here's the
Sure,
thing.
and that's
There-
look. People have opinions.
There are
fine.
the game does push you in directions. It does. There's like, oh, here's the Atlas path. Here's a mysterious story that's going on throughout the galaxy. Or you can say, fuck that. I just want to build on this planet. I want to go in this direction. And there are millions and bajillions of stars.
I'm
you
gonna
can
follow a
just jump
beacon,
in.
and then that beacon, and then that beacon, and just fucking lose
I
5
mean,
hours.
the game starts you with a solid tutorial now, which they didn't do the first time around.
That's
in
very true.
2016.
totally
so
need that.
They
it's a very dense game.
That's great.
So
yeah.
you do need it.
So like it gives you a good jumping off point, and then things dynamically do happen around you. You'll jump into a system, and a frigate will be under attack, and you save it, and then he goes, "Hey, here, take the keys."
You know what's funny too, man? Like,
Yeah.
obviously one of the big focuses is look how much the planets have become beautiful. Look how diverse everything is now.
Mm.
When I first started this game, now under No Man's Sky Next, I started on a planet that looked exactly like what I experienced originally,
And you're
and
like,
it
"Oh,
was
no."
so fucking harsh that I like. Do you remember? I was playing, and it was like a radioactive planet with acid rain, and there were no caves. I couldn't just like find a cave and hop in there and just like plan a next move. I had nothing. My ship was broken, and I was like running out in the open. Thankfully, with like you have a bar on the bottom left corner of your screen of your
Your life support.
life support, and my life support was done, and I was losing health at this point. I had like maybe an inch of health left on my actual bar, and I found one cave. I ran in the cave.
Shelter.
I ran too close to a poisonous plant that lashed out and smacked me, which then took my health down a little bit more. But then I got
This planet's a dick.
I got further in, a little bit further in, and my life support stabled. I was able to mine a little bit of carbon to give some health back, and I said, "All right, you know what? I'm gonna make this fucking thing happen. I'm gonna climb from the bottom and make my ship work." And I did it, and it was just the most rewarding thing.
And then your stream cut out when you left the planet. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, sadly.
So
Sadly.
how does that work? So if you start the game and you
You
lose
get-
all your resources,
You get put on a random planet with nothing. You're
right,
you're
so
supposed to
you
like
put on a random planet,
discover and find
and that random
go.
planet seeds all this horrible terrain,
Yeah.
and exposure and whatever.
It doesn't always. You could have a beautiful like pink grass planet with bunny cats that run around and
Sure, but I was just wondering if you're in that circumstance and you don't survive, you don't pull yourself out of it,
Sure.
and you die.
And just start a new file.
That's what I did. My first
So when you die, the file's done.
No. My first 2 planets were that harsh, so I ended up starting a third time fresh. But if you die normally when you play the game, like when you're just doing things and you got your ship and you're established, a little gravestone, like if you die in space, little gravestones in space, or on a planet, you'll just see like a symbol that they mark your dead body with.
Where do you respawn?
By your ship.
By your ship.
By your ship.
I think on the space station in that galaxy, in that system. I mean,
Is it always a space station?
Yeah, because you just said you actually discovered a system with no space station.
yeah, that's a good
how would
point.
that happen?
How would or it would put you back in the last system with a space station.
So I
that
guess
you
it's like
visited.
the bed in Minecraft wherever you slept last. That
Yeah, that makes
It
sense.
does autosave when you get in or out of your ship.
That's where it is. It's
there
the
you go.
last. It's the last
yeah.
save point.
Does it burn your save file when you play survivor mode?
Yes.
Probably.
There's a hard mode that will delete your file when you die.
No, that sounds terrible.
Cool. That does sound terrible.
Why would you?
And I just
especially
played
in a game
normal.
that's, like, grinding and-
the
Yeah,
planet they
that
put
you
me
spend
on,
a
which
lot
is
of time
normal,
doing
because
meandering.
I didn't want to do the extra hard one.
I would try the survival one.
Try normal first.
No, just try it.
But you need to know what you're doing before you
I
can
think you
actually
should-
survive.
I
Felix,
concur.
I think
agree
you
with
should
that.
just do
So
normal.
if you get a grip on the game, if you play it and you understand the controls, how to
Yeah.
navigate, then be like, all right, cool. I'm not going to invest too much in this because I really want to punish myself.
No,
That's
I would
when-
argue at this point I could probably get way further along and give me
Nor-
God
normal
of War
mode. Normal mode.
God of War.
Pretty punishing. Just saying. Just FYI. Yeah.
No,
not
I'm just saying. Now that I know the mechanics of God of War, I could probably go into that and do Gimme God of War mode and last way longer than I thought I.
That's
It
what
was
I'm saying.
stupid playing Gimme God of War mode from minute one. So
Yeah.
I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
You have to know how to navigate in the world before you can challenge yourself
This
in
is
that
a
world.
complex game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I should.
It reminds me a
learn
lot
the
of
game.
when I played Wolfenstein the first time and I beat it, and then I wanted to play the hardest difficulty. It's like Death Incarnate, and it's like an enemy sees you, and you're almost dead instantly. And then
Yeah.
there's a game mode where it's called Mein Leben, where you die and it puts you back to the beginning of the game.
Oh shit.
So you do a playthrough, and your playthrough is about 3.5 hours, and you literally do not die. And there's a guy on YouTube who videotaped himself doing it, and he like walks you through and everything. And one of my friends, he actually did it, so he got the achievement,
Sheesh.
which 0.001% of all players have in the world. But
That's a cool bragging rate.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean, you get one life, quite literally, no saves, and it's on the hardest difficulty. So
sick.
you make one mistake and you're right in.
If I wanted to hate my life, I guess I'd do that.
And the worst part about it is, of course, it's Wolfenstein, right? So as you progress in the game, the enemies get better at killing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And if you've played the game, and the last fight is on the flight deck there on the carrier, no spoilers, is just horrendous. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's all I got. Space is dope. I like
Space
space. I
is
like
damn
space
dope.
things.
Space is dope.
I'm shooting aliens in space and I'm building planets in space. So let's fucking go.
Anything you want to talk about there, Grim?
Yeah, I guess I can introduce myself. It's my first time on the
Yes, please
the
tell us a
podcast.
little bit about yourself. What you like to play.
Yeah, so my name is Grim. Gamer tag is Grim Reaper 0112 if you want to look me up. I play a couple games. My main game, and this is what I started in the pre-show, is a little bit about, I play World of Tanks, which is an MMO. It's kind of historical vehicles based. There are about like 500-600 vehicles, which really existed in real life, or were prototypes or kind of drawn up. And it's neat. It's all about, it's a very, very, very high skill cap game, which I enjoy. It's 15 on 15 battles, and then you have tiers, which range from 1 through 10, right? Tier 1 being like World War I tanks with like machine guns on it pretty much.
Okay.
And then Tier 10 tanks being like Cold War tanks, right? So the T-54 from Russia, from the Soviet Union, I apologize, and the M48 Patton from the US, thing like that. It's pretty neat. And there's a lot of progression in the game, which I enjoy. I've been playing that for like 6.5 years.
Oh wow.
It's free to play, which I really enjoy. So I spent money on it. I'm the kind of guy where the first 2 years I didn't spend a dime on it. I was like, this is a good game. Then I started spending some money. And there are some pay to win elements that have been introduced in the last 3 years, and the main streamers of it have kind of complained about it, and I'm with it. And there's some, just like any game, you play it enough, you figure out that game mechanics are busted, some of them at least. But I do really enjoy it. I keep coming back to it. I take some breaks, and then I come back to it. But I've been enjoying that. Really, it's one of the only games ever, other than kind of like the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where I spent, hours and hours and hours playing, and I keep coming back to it.
You
so.
seem like a huge history buff.
I am, yes.
You a fan of history?
I actually have a degree in history, yes.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
he keeps
That would
me
explain
really
it.
That would
informed on
explain so much-
a lot of my knowledge on World War One. I got from just conversations with him.
Yeah.
Because you also mentioned liking Battlefield 1.
Yes, correct. So Battlefield 1 is probably my other go-to on the PS4, other than Wolfenstein.
Taught me how to play that better too.
Yeah, right. So Felix didn't know about sweet spots for bolt-action rifles, so that was a big learning moment for him when I told him about that. Yeah, so
Now,
Battlefield 1 was the
talk
first.
about that a little bit. The sweet spot.
Yeah,
mechanic.
so Battlefield 1 was the first in the Battlefield series that introduced this mechanic of a one-hit kill without needing a headshot. And the idea was that you have different bolt-action rifles. Bolt-action rifle, when you fire a shot and then you actuate the lever, which were really common in World War I, and still pretty much all the sniper rifles are made that way in the world, most of them. And so the idea was that different rifles from like 50 to 80 meters would kill you in one hit to the torso or the head. And then you have other weapons which would go out to about 150 meters. And it's kind of a neat mechanic because it was, well, it's a neat mechanic, I think. It is not so much liked by people because people claim that it took the skill out of the scout class, right? I mean, and the auto aim assist was beefed up a lot to initial stages of Battlefield 1. So really, like, people were complaining about, anybody could pick it up, get a bolt action rifle, and just kill you because you got lucky, right?
As long as they were in the right range.
Yeah, right. Now they toned down the auto aim assist a lot for bolt action rifles in their summer update and their spring updates, which was good, I think, and I enjoyed that a lot because it really put the skill back into it, right? They also nerfed a lot, kind of the spread you get when you strafe left and right.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool mechanic too. What I liked what they did was one of their updates was people were abusing the sprint and then crouch mechanic because you slid a little bit.
Yeah.
And initially, you could do that. You could get back up and sprint and slide without loss of speed. And so people were
if
literally
you hit
just
the
like,
keys in the right moment.
correct. So
yeah.
you would see these like pro
like wave
players
dashing.
Oh, it was it was kind of hilarious because the game is like World War One and some historical real, and then you just see a guy like flipping up and down like through an open field and you can't hit him because he's sprinting and then crouching and sprinting.
Yeah.
And so what I really like, they changed that where if you every time you crouch you lose half your speed and it takes you, I think it's a 2-second cooldown.
Okay.
So like you won't regain speed after you crouch and get up until like about a second and a half or 2 seconds later. So so I play that a lot. One of the things I like too is, and DICE has admitted to this, they put a paywall in front of some of their stuff, right? Their expansions they had a premium pass, which was I think $50, and I bought it very early on, and I just have no regrets.
I bought it late.
Yeah, but they just released all their DLCs, the Apocalypse, which was the last one, for free to any player. And I got back into it when they released that, and you can tell the player base is just a lot broader now. I mean, you don't have level 140 dudes who just know every map and every nook and cranny of every map and just destroy you. And it's really
more of
no
a fun.
Correct.
Even's not the word, but like varied playing experience.
Yes, I think a really good word to describe it as varied. gaming
More
experience,
more
correct.
realistic to warfare.
Yeah, correct. That's a
'Cause,
good one too.
You know,
yeah.
like especially World War One. I mean,
Yeah.
those battles were chaos.
yeah.
And, and everyone was like a young, immature boy
Yeah.
fighting.
And I mean, you also have stories, right? I mean, you read accounts where like you have new recruits and they come in the trench and literally the first artillery bombardment, they don't know what they're doing and they just get blown to bits because they can't even tell like friendly from enemy artillery. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, so those two games have really been keeping me entertained for a while. I do have a kid, so what I can play, it's difficult for me to kind of. That's why I asked about No Man's Sky, right? Like, is it worth it? Can I spend an hour playing this and then when I have to get my kid, can I just put it down? And I feel like
Oh.
know
Okay,
if
so
it is one of those things.
My brain was thinking you're asking from a content perspective. Is it content or is it more like how
say
easy is
both.
it to stop?
I think both, right? I think
Yeah,
there's
like what are the
because for
save
me-
features like?
Right.
Hop in your ship and it saves your game, so you
Okay.
can stop at any moment. And
not
if you get, I think, high enough in your technology, you can call your ship to you or warp to your ship or something.
You can also build save points.
Oh, you can build. Oh,
Yeah, that's one of the things you can
wow.
craft later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Question about World of Tanks.
Yeah, please.
You said it's an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a persistent online world, or is it like match based, where you're like, I'm gonna play a match of 15 versus 15 and click a button?
Yeah, great question. So it's not open world.
Okay.
It actually it's pretty neat if you look into the history a little bit. Wargaming, which is the company that made it, have been around for about 20 years, and then they came up with a couple of titles that failed and some took off. They also made like World of Warplanes, which is pretty much the same with airplanes. And
yeah,
the same with like
I've heard of
World
that.
of Warships, which is the same with Warships, which I think is actually one of their best titles. A really well balanced gameplay.
World of Warships?
World of Warships, yeah.
Yeah, you
and
keep
it's
playing
available-
World of Tanks?
Correct.
I think World of Warships
Tanks is
came
the-
with my motherboard when I
you
built
go.
my computer
Really?
in 2016. Yep.
Yeah, and it was released I think 2015 or 2016.
I've got a code somewhere for this
Yeah,
thing.
I play World of Tanks because I'm so invested in it, and I've spent, quite literally hundreds, if not thousands, of hours playing it.
I think you're about to say dollars, but
Did you say
the-
what machine you're playing that on?
I play on PC,
PC.
but it is available on PS4 and Xbox 360. And the nice thing is on the consoles, the gameplay is actually different. So, and surprisingly enough, different parts of wargaming develop those systems, and so you have very different game balance and not mechanics, but game balance. But coming back to Neo's question, it is match based, right? So you boot up in a vehicle. There's a tier spread. So if you boot up in a tier 7 vehicle, you might just play against tier 7 vehicles, which is pretty balanced. You might have +-1 matchmaking, where you play against people who are in higher tier tanks, so like more HP, higher damage guns, better penetration, faster. Or also lower tier tanks, right? So you're kind of top dog and you can just bully people. So there's varied, and it's match-based. Matches range between 15 and 10 minutes in length. And there's different modes, right? So you assault a base, you play not capture the flag, but capture the base. Or then also fighting over a single base in the middle that you have to capture. So
cool.
yeah,
It's very,
there's
like-
enough varied.
Sounds like MOBA-like almost.
It is, and then there are really, so there's no, like, you upgrade your tanks, right? You get like gun upgrades, but then you elite your tank where you have all the upgrades, and then it's done, right? That's how good your tank gets. And then there's also crew skills, so you can like know when you're detected, you aim faster, you don't burn as much if you get hit in your fuel tank, things like that. So
Another question for you: do you play with mouse and keyboard, or do you play with a controller?
mouse and keyboard. Yeah.
So how do the tanks control? Do they control like tank controls, or do they control like the what's the Halo car?
Yeah, the like Scorpion tank.
Oh,
or whatever.
Scorpion
Or
tank.
the
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's it is an arcade simulator, right? So at the end of the day, it's not like you're gonna get like this is how tanks fought in World War II. You're gonna get that sense sometimes when you just have a big brawl in a city and it's just
You
things
see
blowing
just
up all
artillery
around.
going
Correct.
everywhere. Yeah.
But overall, I mean, there are some arcade style gameplays, right? So like one of the big things that disclaimer, I'm one of like the top 1,000 players in the U.S. I'm very, very good at that game.
Drop that bomb on
yes.
us. Whoa.
By the way.
and that's I think why I enjoy it, because it's really at a certain point you can no longer get better by getting better tanks. It is a pure expression of skill. And one of the things, for example, you can track an enemy, and then you can just circle them endlessly while tracking them and damaging them at the same time. So you figure out mechanics and armor layouts of tanks, and this is really where the sophistication for me comes in. Is like you need to memorize or have a sense of where do I shoot this tank so I can damage him, or where I can track him, immobilize him for artillery to hit him, and things like that. And so I think that's really where the game has kept my interest, in that Wargaming keeps adding new tanks from different nations, which is cool. So it gives you new stuff to grind. But they also then change bounce mechanics around certain tanks and damage, things like that. So there are ways to outplay Rust just based on skill. And I have many, many times in crappier vehicles outplayed a way better player.
Nice.
In a better vehicle even, right? Because you understand the mechanics, you understand how to use your terrain better and things like that. So it's a very high skill cap to get into, and it's a really steep learning curve.
I like the good strategy is involved.
Correct. Like
too,
I'll give you a sense, right? So like I actually got into the game kind of randomly. I was watching YouTube videos because I'm a history buff on tank warfare and things like that. And then I came across he's called the Mighty Jingles. He's a British guy, 65-year-old dude who just plays video games all day and then streams them. And he put up World of Tanks videos, and I was like, oh, this seems cool. So I started playing it. I was like, God, I fucking suck. Like I keep getting killed and everything. I had like a 40% win rate, and I was in the bucket. And then I was like, I watched his videos, and I was like, oh, so this is what you should do in this situation. And then eventually I climbed kind of the skill ladder up and up and up. And it's really one of those games where if you invest time, you will get better at it. But there is game mechanics that you just have to get good at or play with somebody who knows them, or else you're just going to not have a good time. And I remember the first video I watched, he's like, oh yeah, when you play like 6,000 battles, you understand the flow of a battle in the maps. And I'm like, I'm never going to play 6,000 battles. And now I'm at like, 20,000 battles already,
Sure,
right?
I'm sure.
400 hours later.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But it's a really awesome game. Highly recommend it. It's free to play, and you can access a lot of the really cool content with really not spending a dime. And then
That's
there's
good.
There's
That's a
cool
really
events to
good
like
thing.
unlock free stuff, get premium tanks, would give you more credits and make the grind easier and things like that.
Cool.
So yeah, really neat game. Highly recommend it. If you
Is that a monthly fee, that game?
You can, so you can pay for what's called a.
Who
There
knew?
is no loot bag. No.
No craft bag?
No tank bag.
Son of a
No,
fuck.
but you do have a depot, and that depot is free for all the shit that you get.
An unlimited
No, but
depot?
there's no cost. You can pay for what's called premium time, where you make 50% more credits every game, and you make 50% more experience, which ultimately quickens your grind to the more fun vehicles, right? Later on in the 1960s and 70s vehicles, which are just, they look better and they fire bigger guns and they drive faster.
How new do the tanks go in this?
So the initially, of course, the company wants to make money, right? So initially their thing was nothing beyond 1960, 1965.
Okay.
But they have put tanks in there that stretch in the 1970s. So for example, the Japanese one, the top tier medium tank, is called the Type 74, and the game is called the STB-1. And that one I think went into service, and it did actually see service in the Japanese army in 1974, I believe. So that's really, I think, the newest tank that they've released in the game.
So they're not going to go ultra modern with this.
No, and actually there was a game, and this is kind of a really sad story. There was a game. It was called Armored Warfare. It started around 3 or 4 years ago. It was really super promising, and that started actually in the 90s and went to like modern battle tanks like the M1 Abrams, Challenger 2 from Britain, the Leopard 2 from Germany. It was really cool, and it took a lot of the bad mechanics from World of Tanks and made them better. Like artillery wasn't as toxic. It wasn't just a point and click mechanic. It was actually had some, you had to think about where you would position because it would be revealed when you fired.
Yeah, totally.
Which is like, why would you not, right? And so, but then the problem was that I think it was not Gaijin, but I forget the maker of the game. The board pretty much told them is, we want to make money. Make a World of Tanks copy. And so they threw out all their great mechanics and just made a carbon copy of the game. And it was really sad. I played about 1,000 games in that, and I was like, this is great. Like, the player base isn't as toxic. You have players who really like want to learn, and it's neat because it had like composite armor and reactive armor because it was modern battle tanks.
Sure.
So you really had to, it was a whole nother level of kind of finesse and understanding of game mechanics. And I loved that because that's the kind of gamer I am. And then it was just kind of like, oh, wait, I'm just playing World of Tanks, but just not as fun. Not as refined, right? And it's really one of the sad
That's a
stories.
shame.
Yeah, and I even played the alpha, and everything. So
You could have been in there. You could have been like probably the #1 player of that game if you approached it the same way you
Maybe,
approached
yeah.
World of Tanks and kept it going and it survived.
Yeah.
You would have been up there from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And I was not too more. I was very good. Yes, I was like always among the top. And of course, the better you do, the faster you progress in the game as
Sure.
well, right? So, but
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the most that I've learned about World of Tanks ever.
yeah, man, it's
And tanks in general, honestly, about real life tanks. I don't know anything about tanks, so
I mean,
perfect.
My entire knowledge has been spurred right here.
Yeah. And I'm really
By
not
Grim.
like I'm not a gunner. I don't own any guns or anything, but I the reason I really like it's the mechanical thing of it, right? The engineering piece of it is
sure.
is pretty incredible. So
Are, are the maps designed to be realistic? Like, so when you're running around in a tank, are there other like environmental concerns, like soldiers you have to avoid? Don't run over your own people. We don't want friendly tank kills.
yeah. So there, yes and no. So there are certain maps which are actually based on reality. So for example, there's a map called Prokhorovka, and there's another one called Malinovka, which are set in the Soviet Union, and they're actually maps taken from a real life tank battle in World War II called the Battle of Kursk, which was the biggest tank engagement in the world, in history of the world.
Oh,
like
shit.
5,000 tanks fought for like 50 days straight. It was pretty nuts.
Whoa.
The Nazis versus the Soviets. And that is actually the hills and the buildings and everything look like that map, and so you fight on kind of a grid, like a kilometer by kilometer. Sorry, 0.6 miles, 0.6 miles, guys.
Yeah.
Grid.
That's all right. You could have left that there. They can figure out if they want to.
But then there's
Go to
other maps
Google.
like Paris, right? So you actually fight like in the Paris, and the Eiffel Tower is there. You can't kill the Eiffel Tower, which would be pretty messed up. But yeah, and there's another one. It's like set in the desert. It's supposed to be in like kind of like the Tunisian desert, right, where a lot of tank battles happen in World War II as
Where
well. So-
Tatooine was filmed.
where Tatooine was sold, correct?
That's
yeah,
the only.
you can still get
it's the
to
only historical thing that I've been able to throw into this conversation so far.
Now, to answer your question about the soldiers, no. There was a concern about the game is rated E for everyone, or Y, or whatever youth, I think, because there is no violence depicted other than your tank exploding when you get hit and killed. There is a game called, unfortunately I can't remember it, War Thunder, which is made by Gaijin, which actually has soldiers in it that you can
I've heard of
machine
that.
gun down and things like that. Which that is more realistic. So if you're looking for a more realistic tank battle, like one hit, one kill, play War Thunder. World of Tanks just really has arcade. Like it has health bars, it has damage per shot, right? It has reload timers, it has assistance, things like that, view range assistance. Versus War Thunder is really that's a great game too, War Thunder. And that one actually also has modern tanks in it now, right? So they actually go up in tiers endlessly until they reach current time. So they're currently on their website, right? They have like, the modern American and German and French battle tanks in there and Japanese ones. So yeah,
Nice.
cool.
Thank you so much for that.
sure,
I'm
yeah.
like honestly, there's a
Little
lot
education
there that
on
I
the-
had no
on
idea
the,
about,
World
both
Tanks.
game wise
Yeah.
and like world history wise.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Very
cool.
cool. Well, sweet.
Well,
And then I guess that's me. That
It's
leaves
you.
me.
Yeah.
So we talked about Destiny a lot.
We did.
already did. I won't get into that. Next week, I plan on playing Dead Cells.
yeah, you mentioned this, and I don't know what this is.
This
so,
is a
so tell me.
Metroidvania game that's been in early access for a while.
Okay.
And they're all like, oh, it's gonna be procedurally generated and the combat's gonna be really refined. It looks really, really badass. I watched a bunch of Let's Plays of it, and it finally comes out of early access on Monday with its full, package.
Yeah.
You'll have to really see the art and animation to like really get the hang of it. I'm gonna talk more about it next week though,
Okay.
because I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. But it seems like it's like a very loop based, very much like a puzzle exploration combat game, 2D
So-
style.
Okay. So that sounds like a cool dynamic. So you get loot and you grind for loot, but it's set in like that Metroidvania side-scrolling kind of environment.
Correct. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll just pull up a video just so
Yeah.
you can get an
Is it
idea.
only on the Switch?
No, it's on every platform.
Okay.
It's been on Steam for like over 2 years or whatever, since whenever it was announced. But I'm gonna dive into this. The Switch is like my go-to like lunch break game system.
Oh,
Because, like,
this is on the Switch.
yeah, it comes out Monday. 1.0 comes out Monday, and the Switch it comes out on Switch.
Dude, I've wanted a grindy loot game on the Switch. That's why I'm excited for Warframe when that
Yeah, that's gonna
ends
drop
up
soon.
making its way there.
I hope you can because I have like 300 hours of that game on PC.
They've said you can one time send your save over to Switch.
I don't know if I want to do that. It's too good looking on the PC.
It's not going to kill your PC stream. It'll copy it and put it on the Switch.
And then that's like
won't-
it's a separate
It's
path.
not exactly. It's not cross-saved, but you can give your file to the Switch essentially.
Gotcha.
So is this Metroid story, or is this because this does
No.
not look like this looks like more like Prince of Persia style?
No, Metroidvania is
Combat.
like a genre
Ah,
term
okay.
for that style of games, where you're exploring, you unlock abilities that get you to another part of the map, and so on and
Yeah,
so forth.
that's-
That's
I think
what a Metroidvania.
That call
generally
out is really important, Neo. If people out there aren't sure of the terminology, it's not just the fact that it's side scrolling with verticality.
Mm-hmm.
It's side scrolling where you may get to a door that you can't access yet and have to go and find some new abilities and come back to unlock that area.
So then you get your ability, and you go, oh, I remember seeing something earlier that I can use this on, and then you end up backtracking and
The new God of War was Metroidvania.
yeah, in a very light sense of the word, yes.
Yeah,
Very
not,
much
not
so.
literally. but-
So was Batman Arkham Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
That was very much an Arkham,
Yes.
Castlevania, Metroidvania.
Hey,
style
I know
game.
that game.
Yeah.
I remember.
But yeah, I'm
That's
looking
like a
at
Stargate
to
right
dive
there that
deep
just
into
opened up really
this.
quickly.
Cool. Oh my God, Stargate.
I know, dude.
I think
Did you hear
Fucking love
the episode
Stargate.
where do you mind if I take a quick second, 2 seconds?
Do it, man.
and
I
bring
got
it back
nothing
here?
more to say about this, other than I'm
Well,
going to
we'll-
talk about
yeah,
it
it
next
looks
week.
sweet.
Well, we'll bring you back
Cool.
to this in a second, but I did VR because I have the rig at my house and I got it set up in my new place. But there's a free, you can set like a home environment, and one of the free home environments was a community-made Stargate Command
Oh my God.
with a
stop it.
working gate that
my
you can
God.
go to when you dial and go to Abydos. You can go to Atlantis. You can go to all the like a bunch of places. Someone just
Oh,
made
yeah, the
these
VR
models,
thing.
and I wandered around there and have never felt. I never felt the childlike wonder that I did that night, except for when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter for the first time.
Or when you first saw Stargate, or not
Sure,
even then.
even more than that, dude. Imagine liking that whole genre, not genre, but that whole franchise. I'm sorry, and then like I got to stand there like a month ago and be in that gate room.
Unbelievable. So, just because I've been doing this all stream, fun fact about Stargate. Obviously,
Grimm's fun facts.
it's a Canadian show, right?
I think
Everybody knows
he,
that.
I
It's
think
all
he
the
should
different
take my
ones.
place on the show.
As
He's
fun fact
got
facts.
more fun facts than me.
Well, you know what he does, which is nice? He says, hey, do you mind if I throw something out really quickly? And you're like, oh, yeah, remember when fucking that thing happened?
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm almost Canadian in my execution, right? I'm like, hey guys, is it okay if I'm sorry? Yeah.
Sorry.
The no, it's a Canadian show, and they made a couple of different. Right, they made a Stargate Atlantis, they made Stargate
SG-1,
Universe.
Universe, yeah.
things like that.
Filmed
They made
in
spin-off
Vancouver.
movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so for the longest time, there weren't really many Canadian productions, and Canada
That's
public
absurd to me.
television.
'Cause
Yeah, it's crazy.
everything's filmed in Canada. now.
Everything.
Yeah.
But like made like
Hollywood
produced in,
North.
like not like Hollywood filming in Canada, but like Canadian productions, right?
Gotcha.
And so Canadian public television had to have like 40% of their broadcasting had to be Canadian productions. And so for the longest time in like the late 90s, early 2000s, all you would have is like Stargate reruns, like 24/7
wow.
pretty much, because they would have like all these American shows, and then like literally for like 3 days straight, they just have to show Canadian productions, and they would just be.
I would
Stargate.
not complain.
I wouldn't be mad
And
at
I
all.
would not
I
be
wouldn't
mad
be
at all. No, 100%. Yeah.
I love that series, man.
I do too.
I remember
So good.
watching it. I watched all of them on Hulu, all 10 seasons, and seasons 1 and 2 were made in full screen. And season 3
Yes.
was made in widescreen. I'm watching it. It's like, oh, now it looks great again. Right?
Yep. that old square image.
Oh my
it's
god,
crazy.
it's fantastic.
First episode aired on Showtime, I think.
Yeah, but it actually, what I appreciate about it too is it doesn't have any special effects. It has practical effects. A lot of them are still practical effects.
Yeah.
And they're pretty fantastic. Actually, I mean, the production value is pretty high. Later on, of course, when they got more of a following, but
Yeah.
no, fantastic show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could spend an hour talking about that.
I
Sorry.
could too. Yeah, so we're gonna stop now.
Neo.
Oh, I got nothing more to talk about. That I mean, I'm gonna play it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I played more No Man's Sky. Got my frigate up. I got nothing else really to say about this week. I've been pretty busy this week, so I didn't have a lot of time to play video games. What's
Destiny
up?
and No Man's Sky.
Neo, you did remind me of something that's coming out on the Switch.
What's that?
Overcooked 2.
It's very soon. Yeah.
That's on the 7th. That's 2 days from now.
You excited?
Yeah, because you can throw food.
You can throw food.
It's a small, but he's
So-
right though. It's a small quality of life thing that they
Right.
needed to add.
So
like
so
to
there
your
are
other
these,
teammate across the
Correct.
kitchen.
Right. So
Oh,
there are these
shit.
stages where
That's
they
cool.
split the goddamn board, and it's super hard because you have to wait. Like there's this one where the goddamn it's an earthquake and half the stage rises up.
Yeah, I
And then
remember.
You're
Yeah.
fucked because
It's
one
a- it's
half of
a-
the food's on one place and the
It's a
other.
cartoony cooking game.
I was literally about to ask him,
Grim,
like, what
yeah.
is this game?
And it
that
works
we're
really
talking
well
about?
with 2 players
You're gonna
because
come couch co-op
you
and
each
play it.
can like control side of your kitchen, and like someone starts chopping tomatoes while the other person like gets the
sounds
soup
awesome,
going.
actually.
Yeah, like
and you got to trade
yeah.
ingredients sometimes back and forth.
It was
I
a
like it.
huge miss when you came over and we never
I'll
had
tell
a
you-
chance to play it.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you right
we'll
now
play next
about
time, yeah, for
Overcooked. I'll die in PvP in Destiny. I'll die in fucking PUBG.
Sure.
And that's that's like 30 minutes of like running around in PUBG and
Yeah,
wasted.
right.
But you put me in a minute and a half long Overcooked match, and my fucking partner isn't fucking making the hamburgers. I want to throw my controller through the wall.
Dude, it's not.
All right,
even-
it's
so
insane how much that game makes me mad.
But you still like it though, right?
Oh, it's fine. It's a great game, but like my roommate,
the goddamn hamburgers.
it's the only
Yeah.
game my roommate like will really like play with me. He enjoys it a lot, and I just don't want to fucking play it with him. He'll ask, and I'll be like, "No,
That's
fuck
really-
you.
That's really
I think
funny.
Go play it yourself."
Like a casual game.
Snacks
Oh, let's come
introduced
together.
me to
It's
it.
so cute
Yeah.
looking too.
Oh
You
my
think you
God.
can never get
Oh,
mad
it's
playing
adorable.
it.
The music's
Dude,
great too.
I did buy it, and I've only gotten through like the first 3 or 4 levels because it gets fucking really hard.
I don't know how.
especially by yourself. 'Cause you
Later-
have to switch
yeah.
like the people that you're controlling.
Second,
and the other person
the
just
second
stands
game
there.
adds online multiplayer. I think.
So this is pretty much like a more refined version of those iOS games where you have to like tap on the ice cream topping that people want when they come in.
No, you're
No,
a character that
like,
runs around.
you move
okay.
around,
You pick
yeah.
up vegetables, you chop the vegetables, and you have to
Okay.
plate the meat and put it on the bun, and then.
okay.
I've
send
never
it
tried
out,
that
yeah.
game single player. I don't want to.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I like it better. Like I said the last time, I just did a couch co-op with Adrenaline. You know, our friend Adrenaline. He came over after we were done. I was like, dude, I definitely prefer this game with more people. Like it's way easier with.
It's a
4
party
people.
game for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like what I was playing.
God, I hate it so much.
The first level that I couldn't get past the first night that I started playing, I was thinking like I don't know how to do the single player. It seems only possible with multiple people.
Yeah.
It's probably not true. There's probably a way. And it was day one obviously, but like I was shook playing it. I'm
I
like,
would
how
love-
is this possible?
to get like a Steven Starr kitchen, put controllers in that lion's hand, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and see if they can, because kitchens are organized,
Sure.
they have like a system to get
Yes.
food out and put it out. I wonder if like an actual like line of chefs
Like Gordon Ramsay.
like Gordon Ramsay and like 4 of his sous chefs or whatever get a controller in their hands if they were okay with video games or whatever, and if they could play this game.
They'd be terrible. You know why? Because the tomatoes are cut and ready to go before you even get an order. So like you don't do that. That
You're
stuff's
right.
not done. That
You're
stuff
right.
is
They,
done
they have all their food prepped
when you
Right.
start the day before you open.
That's a great point, and I didn't consider
Completely
that.
different.
So if
skill
you throw
set.
them in that environment, they're gonna be like, "Fuck."
Well, then you know what? Someone's going to prep the tomatoes.
Sure.
That's what they're going to do. One guy's going to be like, "Oh, you're on prep duty," and then the other guy's going to be on plate duty, and the other guy's going to be on stove duty.
Yeah, there's
The
actually
sous chef, the line cook,
there's actually a
get
stage
them all
that
spotted up.
in the first Overcooked, there's a stage that forces this upon you essentially because it's an outer rim square. So essentially, the center of the stage is one big huge block that no one can go through or anything, and then everyone's in just like one corridor around the outskirts of the stage. So in the lower right corner is all of the cooking pots. The lower left corner is the chopping blocks. The upper right corner
Oh my
is where you
God.
put it out.
Yeah.
And
So you work clockwork. Like
so
in a
that
clock-
stage is the one I'm thinking of most immediately when I'm thinking of it's a stage that needs 4 people because you need somebody manning the food to go out, a person doing the cooking, a person doing the cutting, and a person grabbing the actual vegetables to bring to the cutting board.
Yeah.
And if you don't have 4, it's chaos. It's fucked.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
So you
hard.
have to do the same things by yourself that
if you're
like,
playing
like-
by
like-
yourself.
So
Right.
it's not like I think actually Destiny 1 did this right when if you teamed up with someone in that campaign, more ads would spawn.
It does not give you
It does not
AI. There's
give
no
you-
AI.
But I'm saying in this game, there's not less things to do if you're by yourself.
There might be.
Like you don't have to like chop the onion.
there might be less orders. There
caramelize
might be
it,
less
put 'em on your
orders.
There
burger.
might be less orders.
the
You-
real
all the
question
steps.
is, what's your score? How are they going to grade your score at the end of the
Yeah.
the?
Yeah. I've never
match.
tried it alone. I've never played it
It's
alone.
really fucking hard.
I couch co-op it all
really,
the time.
really.
No,
fucking
thank
hard.
you.
Is it like Mega Man on the Game Boy hard? Like
pretty
I
hard.
mean, that's
It's hard.
or different kind of hard?
different kind of hard.
Okay.
It's
That-
resource management, time management,
Okay.
and then some dexterity because like
Right.
if you see that timer coming down and you know you got to get 2 more orders out, you need to like if you're running past that oven and you don't take that off the burner and then start bringing your tomatoes over, like you may not have enough time. Like you're down to the seconds.
Yeah, speaking of dexterity, how about the later ice levels where
Haven't-
the floor is
haven't
ice
even.
and you're
Haven't even
making
gotten
you're
to 'em.
making fucking fish and chips.
You know
and
what?
there's
Slide
penguins
around.
that make fun of you.
The
just
penguins make fun of
sounds-
you.
Yeah, they're in the background like
You
fucking.
know you know what sold me on
This
this?
just sounds like a nightmare. Like
me-
something
let me-
I would
It's a
dream
fucking
about.
nightmare.
Let me tell you
I don't wanna
what
play
sold
it
me
ever
on this
again.
grim. The trailer showed a kitchen that was separated on 2 truck beds running down the highway.
Yeah.
And you had to wait until like
That's the one I want to be able to throw
cars
food on.
lined up to like cross over to like the other side, and then you had to keep going back. And it's like top down cartoony, but like it's so intense.
So in that level, you're
my
like throwing
God.
tomatoes onto the one truck so you can make sure they get to
No,
the other
no,
truck.
for that
you know?
one.
Jesus.
So what I
goodness.
recommended was just me and adrenaline, and for that one I recommended he prep all the food and drop it right on the ground on his side, and then when the trucks came together,
That's
I
a
would
health
start.
code violation.
I would start grabbing. Yeah, exactly.
Did you wash your hands after they were going back?
No, fuck no. But I did wash the dishes. You're supposed to.
You have to.
That's true,
You
yeah.
have to clean dishes. And
Yeah.
it sucks.
But use a tomato you threw on the
Now,
floor.
Grim,
that's fine.
when you come over, you should do next time you do couch co-op. We'll just exclusively play.
I mean,
that.
this sounds like my nightmare because I'm like I get anxious cooking myself
Yeah.
about the cleanup afterwards. So I'm sure this will be very good.
we can maybe coordinate this week if you want, because I'm gonna have Overcooked 2 this week.
All right, yeah. Let's find some time for that.
Nice.
Cool.
I'll watch for sure.
Well, all right.
Yeah. See me just overcooking.
Yeah.
There's not really a whole lot of news this week.
It's really not.
You want to talk about this single player resurgence?
Yeah, I can.
You want to
Yeah,
dive
So
off?
I can. I started the conversation around like.
10 minutes. Yeah.
I found an article on VGR.com, and it talks about God of War drives single player resurgence with $131 million in digital revenue, and then it gives some more
now-
details on it.
That's crazy because there are no microtransactions in this game.
Yeah, and
At
so,
all.
But I think there's for me at least, right? I mean, the bigger key to takeaway for me is, I think every game we talked about today has had some sort of multiplayer aspect to it, or really was driven by playing with others. Me growing up, I mean, I grew up with a Game Boy in my hands, right? Where it was only single player, and then like Pokemon came out, and you could suddenly like trade, and it was like a fucking revelation, right?
Whole new world.
And in fact, like, you had to trade to get certain Pokemon. And to me, I always really, I'll be honest, like I adore games like God of War and Wolfenstein, who make it a point of giving you a 20 to 40 hour campaign where you care about the characters, where it's really story driven, great game mechanics, and they focus on single player, right? And so really, there's you run into the issue of like balance, which really was one of the things that I didn't like about Destiny 1 is like the game balance and multiplayer for me was always wacky, and I was never good at it. It was really frustrating to me. But like, I really, really love to hear news like this because I started with this getting into video games, single player games, and I'm happy to see that there is still a big market for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you're watching a lot of these companies kind of stray away from this. EA is going hard into their live world, live services. Ubisoft's doing the same thing. And last year we saw articles saying, oh, the single player game's dead. But we see companies like Sony pushing their developers to make just these great single player campaigns. You don't see a lot of multiplayer games coming from Sony's pool right now. Yep.
I think you're bringing up the most important point of this. People were moving into multiplayer because they're following the money. They were following the money because people would buy these games to play with their friends, so more sales, push consoles to get games to play together.
Yeah.
Microtransactions for differentiating things inside of these games, and it's all just a big, huge money sink, whether or not the game is like good or not, right? But like that
Could
experience.
argue that about
of
Destiny 2 as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Games started as experiences, as ways to escape and to dive into other characters. And they still do to a very, very large extent. But I think all of our formative game years involve single player games. You know, Final Fantasy, Pokemon was still, you traded, but it was still very much a single player
100%,
exploring experience. And we all have these stories and these memories of
That
loving
fucking
a,
last cave, dude.
loving a character, you know, like learning their story. And this I'm so excited about because it's financial backed evidence that people still want this, which sadly is the majority of what a company is going to look like when they decide what to give money to make new content. They're going to see that and go, okay, they feel better now. We can still keep making these because that was the vibe, dude. Like a couple of years or last year, it was
I
like
think
it
that
looked like it
article-
wasn't going away.
I think that article is responding to the droves of articles that I constantly have pushed at me on Facebook about how there's constant articles about people talking about how the single player game is dying. And
Yeah.
we've even talked
Yeah.
about it on the show.
It's all
and I
reactionary.
just don't fucking believe it. But I
It's-
have a lens that's clearly for single player games.
I want to say it appeared that they were dying because a lot of companies were pushing for their open world live service games.
And then Battle Royale came right
And then
around
Battle
that
Royale
corner.
came around, yeah. But these I want to say are, I want to say they're gaming fads.
They are.
We've seen tons of them in the past like 5 years, like MOBAs, and everyone tried to do an MMO, and everyone tried to do.
Look at League of Legends, right? I mean, like they were like huge fights, and they're still huge. I mean, they're one of the biggest
still
games
huge,
ever.
yeah.
But like, and they make tons of. I mean, the prize money is like $6 million for the winning team. Let's be real; it's a huge market. But I think they're slowly going away, right? It comes in waves.
Well, yeah, no other company's trying to make a MOBA now. You're not going to see a new MOBA come out. Right. You're also not going to see any more hero shooters because Overwatch kind of took that stage. I have a feeling after this year, we're not going to see as many Battle Royale games. We're going to see everyone try to do their Battle Royale game. And then when the dust settles, we're going to see who was left standing. It's probably going to be Fortnite.
Because we have the AAA titles entering the ring this year.
Mm-hmm.
The next wave is going to be their entries into these Battle Royale rings.
Battlefield 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're going to try it, yeah.
But I think there's also there's the piece, and the article also talks about, Uncharted 4 made 56 million, Witcher 3 made 69 million.
Those are fantastic games.
Yeah, and I think there's really...
Look how excited people are for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cyberpunk looks incredible.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, all the games that I'm looking forward to coming out this year are mostly single-player titles. Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, God, what are the other ones? I don't know.
I think the
next year
only
there's
one
also-
that's multiplayer for me is Fallout 76.
Oh yeah, Fallout.
Multiplayer
That's
for
gonna
me
be
is...
I'm very curious how that's gonna turn out.
Battlefield 5 for me is the big one. I'm very, very excited for that. I mean, I'm a history nerd, so...
So yeah, all about it.
But it's the
I got
single player
that
one,
too.
and this is something too that the new Wolfenstein. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer. Wolfenstein Youngblood. Looks
Can't
like
wait.
You're going to be playing with as the two daughters of Blazkowicz.
Hey, you guys could co-op on that.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? So are they going in a couch / just 2-player co-op right thing, where there's no multiplayer, and I really hope they don't go down multiplayer, but I hope they're talking about they're going in a even a couch co-op, right? So like the two twin sisters, and then you kill Nazis. Why not? I mean,
Hey, real quick, guys. Split screen vertical or split screen horizontal?
Horizontal.
Depends on the game.
Really?
yes, depends on the game.
Okay. Wolfenstein, split screen horizontal or vertical?
Horizontal.
Horizontal.
Yeah.
The game's single player is already in widescreen for you.
Yeah.
So like when I don't know, you remember Resident Evil 5? When you did split screen in Resident Evil 5, they gave you two little horizontal boxes and there was dead space between them.
It's because they gave you two 16:9 boxes on, and that they preserved the aspect ratio.
They-
And it was
for each
just
player.
literal dead corners.
What
on-
was
on your
the
screen.
what are examples of games that can do vertical?
Racing games.
Portal 2?
Racing games.
For me, there was also
yeah, Portal.
This is way throwback. Rainbow Six Vegas 2 did vertical
what a
couch
classic.
co-op, and that was actually pretty good. Well, because I think the cover system necessitated that, right? Because you need to be able to look over a cover system, and really the horizontal wasn't as important as being able to see the height difference because it was a pretty a vertical game, I would say. So,
But going back to this, online games are not going away.
No.
And they're tons of fun, and it's the way people are connecting now that the internet is ubiquitous across our entire lives. But it's refreshing and exciting to know that people still value an incredibly well-made single-player experience.
Absolutely. And I do as well because I'm not always going to play multiplayer games.
I'm not either. The majority of players are just playing by themselves. Think of the criticisms of some of these biggest online games. There's not enough for the single player. What if I don't have friends? I can't raid. And that's what you hear, and that's the balance. You got to figure out how to make content for people that are playing your game, and that's why Destiny 2 took such a hard turn trying to appease a lot of people.
Yeah, they're trying to spread their tendrils out to get everybody, and it's sometimes they forget about the other guy. You know what I mean?
So I think playing by yourself is really the majority vibe, whether or not we talk about it or not.
I totally agree.
but I think it goes to show that also there is. I feel like you always make the argument that there is almost like a multiplayer fatigue, where people. I mean,
Yes.
look in World of Tanks, I can't tell you how frustrating it is when like literally my shoulders hurt from carrying so much, and we still lose the round, right? Like I'm in a bottom tier tank, I'm doing more than I should have to, and you still lose, and those are the most frustrating moments to me. It's just like, why do I have to rely on others? It's not that I don't like playing with people. I think I play MMOs because I enjoy the varied experience you get.
Sure.
Right? It presents a challenge sometimes, but when they get in the way of you having fun, is when you get this fatigue. And this is why I said when I was talking about World of Tanks, is like I take breaks from that game. Where it's like I don't play for like 4 months, and the clan I'm in are just like, where the fuck were you? Right? We had tournaments and stuff like that. I'm just like, dude, I needed a break.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't want to
Sometimes you get
talk
burned
to
out.
others while playing. I wanted to play just Wolfenstein for a bit.
Yep.
So the reason I created 2 characters in Elder Scrolls Online is one of them. I play with the guys and people from the stream, and we grind through the story missions or we grind through the dungeons. But I created another character specifically so I can read every single dialogue, lore-based dialogue option.
Really take your time playing through that
Understand
content.
what's happening
Yeah.
in the story of this giant Elder Scrolls lore-based world that I want to know about. I don't get that when I'm with other people. No one gives a shit.
They're
we're
all
in a
rushing
hurry.
through.
We got to run
Totally.
through it.
Yeah.
You know, like just why is he waiting there? Oh, he's waiting. Why is he in his craft bag? Why the fuck? You know,
You know, you know what's
I've seen his
funny?
crap bag
You
again.
know what's funny? As much as I love lore, this literally happened today, Neo. When me, you, and Channing were playing Destiny.
Yeah.
And right before we hopped into the Whisper Quest, you guys were doing the adventure. And you're like, wait, there's a scanny thing here. And I'm like, it just it talks about the fucking taking portals. Let's go. We got to get through here.
Yeah, whatever.
I would do that by myself. I would sit there and scan and read everything about
Those are the
the
memories, right? That's
no.
what those things are.
The memories are the are Mars. The Mars
For the solstice thing.
yes.
Oh,
The little colored things you have to shoot with the matching elemental damage.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Get to work.
I guess.
Follow a YouTube video.
Nice.
The app will tell you which ones you have and which ones you don't have. It's very cool.
Oh, that's convenient. That's good. Sorry, that was a little side
Little
tangent
side.
there.
We're always side tangenting.
Yeah, I don't think single player games are going away.
I'm glad
Straight
to hear
up.
it.
Yeah, I hope
And I'm,
so
and I'm
glad to
glad
hear
that they won't be. And I'm glad Sony is the one company that's like, no, you know what? We want these games.
You know what?
And
I think
Rockstar.
streaming
And Rockstar.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Rockstar's
making-
got a big multiplayer platform, though.
Yeah, GTA 5 is like
Well, they do.
still a
Massive.
cash cow.
They
yeah,
do,
it's
yeah.
massive. So.
But I think streaming is making this case more and more because people are watching consistently the multiplayer games that have always been there, but right under that tier, it's like God of War.
Oh, you
is
better
always
believe
there.
I'm streaming Spider-Man when that comes
Yep.
out.
A lot of people will be doing Spider-Man.
ham on that game.
Yep. People want to do these experiences or watch them if they can't play them themselves.
People were very upset when they missed story cutscenes from the God of War game that I had been playing through. Yeah. Because they couldn't keep track, and it's hard to keep track with me. It's hard to keep track of what I'm playing whenever.
Right,
but
right.
but they were like, they came back, like someone came back into my stream, and they were like, wait, did you fight the third Valkyrie? And somebody was that I know IRL was really pissed that I fought the final Valkyrie off stream.
Oh, no.
On purpose, because I just was too nervous.
You didn't want to fucking
Yeah.
lose it.
They
You
were
want an
pissed.
audience.
Sorry, I'll just shout him out. Wu-Tang was
Yeah.
Wu-Tang was like, dude, you fought the final Valkyrie off stream.
Well, he would have gone back and watched it.
No, he
Go
just
on
wants
back.
to see me hurt myself.
But
live on stream.
both of those things are correct. He would go back after the fact, even if he couldn't watch it, watch the replay.
Oh, I think he did.
yeah.
Oh, no. Well, he didn't with that because I didn't put it
Well,
out there.
he's on there all the time. Yeah.
No, but he never got a chance to watch the final Valkyrie because
Yeah.
I never did it live. So
But I think there's also the piece of, and at Trip, you just made a good point about the experience that you get. I mean, if you look at just like Game of the Year awards, every year it's a single player game. Like Fortnite is not going to win any Game of the Year awards, right? PUBG is not going to win it. They might make tons and tons of money, which they do, right? Because they're free to play platforms and just microtransactions, and you buy a skin that makes it look like a shark, and then you shoot missiles that look like a cactus or whatever.
Very
right?
important. Very important.
Right? I don't even know if that's true. I've never played the game, but
Yeah.
If
it
it's not
seems like
true,
it's accurate, yeah.
you're
it's going to be in the
adjacent
game
to
tomorrow.
true.
Yeah, right. But I think my point is that also this comes back to a conversation I think we had off stream about like the Rocky statue, right? Like, is it art? Like God of War, Wolfenstein, like Bioshock,
The Last of Us. Those
right?
games.
The Last of Us.
yeah.
I mean, those are games that really like they're going to be remastered probably again
they're
on the next generation
transcending
console.
the genre.
Correct.
If
and
movies are
so-
art, those experiences are art.
Yeah,
100%.
and it's one of those things where the first game where I didn't skip a single cutscene was Red Dead Redemption because I felt like I was in a Western. And I was literally like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And like, I wanted to make sure that my character was okay. And then, by the way, no spoilers because it's been like 6 years, so this doesn't count. When you get shot in the end, I'm like, what the fuck? Right? I was genuinely
Spoilers,
upset.
he's not
like,
okay.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you come back as your son, you're like, oh, sweet revenge, buddy. You just pop the guy 6 times with your auto revolver. But like, it's that moment that like, you get so much more invested in a storyline that's crafted beautifully, that creates characters, that evokes feeling in you. And like Bioshock makes you feel bad when you make a bad decision. Then if you're playing Fortnite and then you fucking style on a guy, is that what kids are calling these days, right? Like-
no. I mean,
But my
Style
point
on a
is like you kill some
old.
guy and then you're like, oh, let me build a tower around him,
Yeah.
right? And so I think there's the piece of me where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I still remember the moments when I got shot in Red Dead Redemption. I remember the moments in BioShock when I saved all the girls.
Yeah.
Right? Because it led me, it was a journey that it was an art piece that I was part of. Right? And so I think that's really where I 100% agree. I think single player games will never go away because of the culture of transcendence that Felix just mentioned. So
Yeah, it's moving in that direction.
I love it. It's
I
comforting.
mean, look at
It
what
won't be there.
Hellblade did.
Yeah.
Look at what Hellblade
That
did.
is a
Hellblade was
beautiful crafted
unbelievable.
game.
Hell-
Well, and
Hellblade
also-
working with what?
Ninja Theory.
yeah.
No, but what was the main psychological disorder
psychosis.
that they?
It was
Was it?
psychosis. Yeah.
I thought it was.
I mean, hallucination and psychosis. It was like hurting
thought-
yourself and
I thought we talked about it. We read it in an article. It was something very specific. It was like multiple personality disorder, and they researched people who had that problem, and because they wanted to have that. They wanted people to understand it, or something.
I have to look
We'd
it
have
up.
to
Don't worry,
check.
don't worry about it. But like, I remember it was something they specifically researched to inject into their game.
so there's actually a guy
Psychosis.
psychosis. Yeah.
Oh, it was psychosis. Okay,
There's a
never
guy
mind.
on YouTube. He's a Minecraft guy, Farlands or Bust guy. I forget his name, but he played this game and he actually has a mild form of psychosis. And in his stream, he streamed the whole game in a 12-part series. He said that when there were those moments of psychosis, he said like he got anxious and he remembered how he felt as a kid when he had those episodes. So yeah, 100%. You're right. Like that game was, I mean, besides looking gorgeous, it really evoked a sense of psychosis, like what it would feel like. That
It's
medical
still something
condition.
that I
Took
have
gaming
to
in-
play.
Yeah, it took gaming into a direction that it hadn't been in.
Yeah.
You know, that's what elevated the genre of film beyond just being, crap that Edison was trying to market as like a dime store bullshit thing.
Right.
You know, like film started to get creative, especially with German cinema, and they started like taking the camera in tighter and pulling emotion out of every single shot. And then the Americans started emulating the Germans, and then that was it. I mean, film transcended and became something way better than what. And then with the 50s, you had the French with their questioning, like what is film and all this shit. Where, like Godard with his like weird ass Breathless movie. Have you guys ever seen that?
Not that one. No.
Where he intentionally said the audience doesn't decide what this is. I decide what this is, and like intentionally did things to break the rules of film. Like there's this one rule where you ever watch like a sporting event where you can't have the cameras on both sides because
Right.
it confuses
Like
the
soccer.
audience.
Same with a conversation.
You don't
can't-
understand what
can't
left and right is.
Break
Yeah.
the midline
Right.
when you're editing a conversation.
Right. So Godard broke all these rules on purpose because art, film had gotten to a level of art, and they were now questioning the
"Fuck it."
genre itself. And he said, "I can do whatever I want. I can break. This is my art.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for the viewer. I'm doing this for my fucking self."
Honestly, that's what it should be if it's art.
Very cool.
It's crazy.
Well, guys, I think that's good.
I think we did
We
the
did it.
thing.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us. Graham.
Thank you, Graham.
Yes, thank you so much for
mu-
hosting me.
Thanks for the history lessons.
you wanna-
Anytime. I'll be back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And,
Do you got a social media you want to shout out or anything like that?
that
if you
no.
care, if you care to have
No.
people follow you or whatever.
It's fine. Snacks the
You don't
cat.
have to.
Snacks the cat is on here whenever he's showing. He goes, "Snacks the cat. Don't fucking find me anywhere.
yeah.
Don't find me.
Don't find
I
me."
mean, you can. I have a Twitter. I read it about.
You
twice
shouted
a
out your
month.
gamer tag.
Only if
I
you-
heard.
Yeah, my gamer tag. So
Only
I'm
if you
on-
want to. There's
I'm
no.
on-
There's no.
There's
you
no
don't have to.
obligation here.
I'm on PlayStation Network. If you want to look at me, World of Tanks, Grim Reaper 0112, because I'm also a math nerd, and those are the 4 first digits of the Fibonacci sequence for all you
nerd,
all you
boy.
dudes out there. Yeah,
Yes,
man.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Big brains on
I'm
me,
a big
so.
Tool fan, and I learned about the Fibonacci sequence because of the song Lateralis.
Oh yeah.
He sings in the Fibonacci sequence. Every word that he says
Yes.
is the amount of syllables is the next number in the Fibonacci sequence up
That's
until I think
nuts.
5, and then goes back
1,
down.
1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11. Yeah, you can keep going. So.
I appreciate that.
Anyway,
Well, want to sign off?
we'll
Should I
go
13
down the line.
out of
Go down the
11.
line.
Yeah, this is Felix Hergood. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Felix Hergood and mixer.com/Felix Hergood. I do a live Mitch chat. It's a mix of the fuck. It's a mix of Twitch and Mixer at the same fucking time. Please check me out at some point.
Word. I am Trip Zero. All of my socials are Trip Zero TV. Super easy stuff. Streaming mostly Destiny 2 while we do the events, but definitely gonna transition back into more single player games and things like that because I still got to do.
Don't say Metal Gear.
I got it. That's the first one I was gonna say, dude. I have to.
is.
I have to. I promised people in March.
Guess what? It's almost September.
I joked about Metal Gear December, but it's gonna happen probably.
6 months.
And then we're going to do our podcast concluding and just going to talk
We still
Metal
have
Gear.
to. We still have
Talk
to.
Metal Gear.
Yeah. So stay tuned for the me and Neo exclusive.
I'm going to stop you right there. What do you think of the Metal Gear and it's messing with history? No,
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
oh,
I'm just kidding.
oh my god. Oh my god.
I will be very open. I think video games and movies giving alternative histories is fun. Inglourious Bastards is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Nice.
I'm all about that
Wolfenstein's
stuff.
cool, too. It does that,
Wolfenstein is
too.
Great. Yes.
Well, cool. This
Take
is
us
Neo
home.
Aoshi. Oh, sorry, were you done?
No, I said take us home.
Oh, yeah.
Take us home, yeah.
This is Neo Aoshi. You can find me at Twitter at Neo_Aoshi or twitch.tv/Neo Aoshi. Thanks for joining us this week. We hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Talk to you.
Bye.
See ya.
You can call me whatever you want. Bruce Grimm.
Bruce Grimm.
Grim Reaper.
You tell us. What do you want?
I like Grim.
Let's do Grim. That's fine.
wanna do
Gonna go
Grim?
with
Yeah, let's do
Grim, man.
Do Grim? Don't influence his opinion.
So, okay, I'll shut
Well,
up.
so
I like Grim. We'll do Grim.
I think we all collectively need to vote on Grim.
I suggest that we call him Grim. I
Yeah.
like Grim.
motion passes.
Yeah.
With nobody voting on it.
I suggest we vote on Grim. I think Grim is good.
Hey,
Grim is
you
great.
just said we wouldn't talk about
Grim is the
That
best.
person.
It's the
It's
best
the best
name.
It's the best. Grim, but Grim is. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Listen, people tell me all the time.
Just the
There you
best
go.
name.
I just turned it on.
The greatest name.
The greatest.
No name is better than Grim.
I definitely think.
No, it's
Trip-
better. Look, my dad told me the other day that there was a name that was better, but I really don't believe him because, people tell me all the time. I mean, look, there's a guy over there and he's mowing the lawn, and really, coming back to the name, it's really the best
It's
name ever.
Grim.
It's Grim.